You might think the most outrageous thing about Private School is its raunchy humor and endless parade of 80s teen comedy tropes. But behind the scenes, the producers allegedly reshot Betsy Russell's infamous horseback scene just to watch her bounce. And that's only scratching the surface of this wild story. Private School, released in 1983, rode the wave of R-rated teen sex comedies sparked by Porky's. Directed by Noel Black, best known for the cult thriller Pretty Poison, and produced by R. Ben Ephraim and Suzanne DePass, this was a film made with a very clear mission: deliver a no-holds-barred fantasy aimed squarely at the teenage crowd. The cast was a mix of rising young stars and familiar faces. Phoebe Cates, fresh off her Fast Times at Ridgemont High fame, took the lead as Christine Ramsey. Matthew Modine, in one of his earliest roles, played her love interest Jim Green. But the scene stealer? Betsy Russell as Jordan Lee Jensen, the mischievous rich girl whose antics would burn themselves into pop culture's collective memory. Michael Zorich and Kathleen Wilhoit rounded out the cast, bringing energetic comic relief that kept the story moving even when the jokes got particularly wild. The story of Private School isn't complex, and that's the point. Christine, a senior at an elite all-girls academy, is struggling with whether or not to lose her virginity to her boyfriend Jim. Meanwhile, Jordan plots to seduce Jim herself, leading to a whirlwind of pranks, misunderstandings, and a lot, and we mean a lot, of nudity. The movie shamelessly leans into slapstick gags, raunchy humor, and the era's fascination with rebellion against authority. Now, about that horseback scene. Betsy Russell, in an interview, opened up about her experience. She took the role knowing full well she'd be performing nude scenes, seeing it as her ticket into the movie industry after only a few commercials and TV guest spots. Betsy said, "I did Private School because I knew it would get my foot in the movie door. It got me started in the right direction." She wasn't shy about her work either, explaining, "I wasn't really self-conscious doing the scene because I have no hang-ups about my body. We didn't totally equate nudity with sex like other generations do." But here's the kicker. Sources and rumors from set reveal that producers were so delighted with Betsy's topless horseback ride, they insisted on reshooting parts of it purely to watch her bounce more effectively. Some even claim that studio executives attended the reshoot just to see it live, a reflection of the anything goes attitude of the early 80s film industry. Behind the scenes, the production wasn't nearly as glamorous as the on-screen antics suggested. Fast Rewind and other sources point out that shooting at private school locations in Southern California was no easy task. Many institutions balked at the script's content, forcing the team to piece together settings from multiple schools and sets. The summer heat also played a role, with outdoor scenes being particularly grueling for the young cast dressed in heavy uniforms and sweaters. Phoebe Cates, whose girl-next-door image had already been complicated by her infamous pool scene in Fast Times, was somewhat more cautious this time around. According to Blu-ray commentaries and DVD extras, she fought to limit her own nudity, leaving the heavy lifting to co-stars like Betsy Russell and newcomer Kathleen Wilhoit. Reportedly, Phoebe even had final approval over some of her character's wardrobe to avoid accidental exposure. The humor, for better or worse, leans on typical tropes of the time: peeping toms, sabotage dates, vindictive headmistresses, all played with an over-the-top wink. TV Tropes notes that Private School hit every beat you'd expect. The shy nerd, the brash best friend, the cartoonish authority figure, and of course, the climactic prom scene. The infamous prank involving sneaking boys into the girls' dormitory was actually inspired by real-life stories shared among the crew members. Reception was mixed, to put it politely. Roger Ebert gave the film a scathing one-star review, calling it an exercise in cynicism, and accusing it of pandering to the lowest common denominator without offering any real wit or originality. But despite critical disdain, Private School found its audience. Teen viewers flocked to it, and home video later cemented its cult status. Its VHS release became a staple for slumber parties and late-night cable marathons, earning it a second life long after its theatrical run. The film's legacy today is complicated. It's both a time capsule of Reagan-era teen fantasy and a lightning rod for debates about the exploitation of young actresses. Betsy Russell, reflecting later, defended her choices. "My parents weren't upset by my topless scene," she said. "Our values weren't any less worthwhile." Interestingly, despite the pressure to do nude scenes, Betsy drew a hard line with Playboy. She revealed that the magazine pursued her aggressively after Private School, but she refused, saying, "There's no reason to do that unless you're desperate for money and have no acting aspirations." Private School spun off a minor franchise, though its direct sequels were only tangentially related, like Private Resort with a very young Johnny Depp and Rob Morrow. None captured the same mix of outrageousness and teenage wish fulfillment quite the way Private School did. It's also worth noting that Private School managed to sneak in some genuine character moments among the chaos. Christine's nervous, sweet relationship with Jim gave the film a heart that most similar comedies lacked. And as ridiculous as the pranks and setups were, there's a real sense that the filmmakers knew exactly what teenage audiences were craving: escapism, rebellion, and fantasy. The soundtrack also deserves a shout-out, featuring tracks like "How Do I Let You Know," performed by Phoebe Cates herself. The music perfectly captured the innocent yet rebellious spirit of the film. Combined with a sun-soaked California backdrop, the movie became a blueprint for countless imitators who tried to replicate its carefree vibe. Culturally, Private School is a poster child for the era's contradictory attitudes. A mix of moral panic over teen behavior on one side and a film industry more than willing to indulge every teenage fantasy on the other. It holds a weird mirror up to its time, where open attitudes about bodies clashed with deep-seated conservatism about sexuality. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your take on the wild legacy of Private School? And do you think movies today could ever get away with something so shamelessly audacious? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments.